Why did you start to monitorize human rights abuse from the Palestinian Authority?
You know, I'm a person who is interested in the rights of the Palestinians. And I started my human rights career under an Israeli organization called B'Tselem, trying to defend the Palestinian rights from the Israeli government. And after the Oslo Agreement, I decided that I should have to continue defending the rights of my own people from their own government. Because I realized that the Palestinian Authority leaders almost developed and grown up under a dictatorship regime. From Sudan to Syria to Algeria to Tunisia to Syria to Jordan. And I realized in the meantime that the Palestinian Authority or the Palestinian leadership in that time almost learned from the Arab regime how to violate the rights of their own people. And that's led me to create the Palestinian Human Rights Monitoring Group in terms to defend the rights of the Palestinians from their own leadership. I used to say that to create a human rights organization under the Arab regime, it looks like to commit a suicide. It's not easy. I was personally arrested by Arafat in January 96, but I was so lucky that I kept in jail only for 25 hours because the only one who succeeded to release me in that time was the U.S. Secretary, Warren Christopher, under the administration of Bill Clinton. And since that time, I am feeling so secure because I believe that I still have a huge support among the ordinary Palestinians.
Good many Palestinians agree with your opinions.
See, sometimes the Palestinians looking to me as the spokesperson of the dead people, as the spokesperson of the silent people. Palestinians don't have impunity like I do. I'm a person who spent 26 years of his life defending the rights of the Palestinians. I already received an international awards. I have already an international name, and that gave me a kind of impunity. Of course, not all of the Palestinians used to have such kind of impunity. And I think that since 14 years ago, I am already living in Jericho, which is under the Palestinian Authority jurisdiction, and I don't remember in the last 14 years anybody tried to knock my door. So people still receiving me very well. I am still visiting Palestinians in the West Bank, in cities, in villages, in refugee camps. And people looks like to me that they really like my own political views towards the Israeli-Palestinian conflict.
What do you think of the prospects for the Palestinian rights now? Will be there a Palestinian state? Is the two-state solution still viable? And what do you think is the main reason that the conflict continues?
First of all, in my opinion, the main job of the Palestinian Authority today is how to manage the conflict rather than to solve it. I think that the Palestinian Authority today trying to keep the current situation as a status quo. I think that the Palestinian leadership want to keep the Palestinians as hostages under the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. I didn't see right now that the Palestinian Authority has any kind of diplomacy or any political agenda to reach any kind of peace with the Israelis. I think that the majority of the Palestinian people these days almost lost the trust in their own leadership. I don't think in the meantime that the two-state solution is available a solution. Why? Looks like to me that we, the Palestinians, are not ripe enough for state. Look what's happened in Gaza. After the Israeli disengagement in 2005, I think that we, the Palestinians, almost destroyed in Gaza what remains from the Israeli occupation. I remember when Sharon talked about his plan to disengage from Gaza, and each Palestinian leader start running from one TV channel to another TV channel by saying, if Israel will disengage from Gaza, we will make Gaza Singapore. I couldn't compare these days between Gaza and Singapore. So I think that probably Sharon was so clever how to make the Palestinians more and more failure in front of the international community. Because if we didn't succeed to manage Gaza, how we can succeed to manage state? Unfortunately, I think that Europe is supporting the corruption of the Palestinian Authority in the West Bank and the corruption of the Hamas in the Gaza Strip. This is Europe. Europe, unfortunately, became a part of the conflict rather than a part of the solution.
Why do you think that Palestinians can succeed building a democratic society?
See, first of all, we need to build a state. We need to build a state. How you can come today by saying the two-state solution is the only solution? Where is the second state? Where is the second state? The state of Israel exists. Where is the other state? I think that the international community should have to focus on building the state before recognizing the state. Where is the state? We are living in a lack of institutions. We are living in a lack of economic sources. We are living in a lack of legislations. We are living. We have today 55% of the Palestinians are living in refugee camps. This is the state that you are going to recognize. I don't think that this is the state that I am dreaming in. So Europe should have first to start building the state before recognizing the state.
What did you learn when you went to South Africa as a Palestinian, as an Arab, as a Muslim? Is Israel an apartheid state?
See, I think that people today using the word apartheid against Israel as a political slogan, no more and no less. I think that those who are talking about Israel as apartheid, they never been in Israel, and they never been in South Africa. So they have no idea what is the apartheid is. I visited South Africa 6 times. I visited the Museum of the Apartheid in Johannesburg 3 times. I learned everything. I have Jewish friends who born in South Africa and they were expelled out of South Africa during the apartheid because they used to fight against the apartheid. I have friends. I learned a lot from South Africa, and I think that South Africa will never ever be an example for the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. It's completely different, and let the South African, first of all, in my opinion, fixing their own internal problems before they are trying to interfere in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. I think that by calling Israel an apartheid, that will make the Israeli-Palestinian relations more and more complicated. I don't remember that during the apartheid, there was a head of university who is black. I don't remember during the apartheid that the manager of the biggest hospital in Johannesburg used to be a black. Today, we are completely different. We have a Palestinian judge at the Israeli Supreme Court. We have Palestinians who are serving as Israeli ambassadors around the world. Did that exist under the apartheid? Of course not. But as a political slogan, probably it worked much more than it is a fact on the ground.
Many people in the West, particularly among the political left, think that a BDS movement will help the Palestinians to build a success state. The rationale is that the Israeli business in the West Bank prevent Palestinians from building their own economy. Do you agree?
No, I completely disagree. First of all, I think that there is a very wonderful example on the economic cooperation between the Israelis and the Palestinians, and that's bringing me to mention the new city which has been established in the north of Ramallah called Rawabi. Rawabi is a neighborhood which does not exist in Europe. It is an Area C, which is under the Israeli control. But the Israelis came to the Palestinians by saying, we are offering the land. You can build your own city here. Israel provided the water. Israel provided the electricity. And I think that the European parliamentarians should have to make one day visit to Rawabi and to see that Israel is still supporting the building of the Palestinian economy. I think that the only one around the world who is aware about the Palestinian economy, by the way, is Israel. Not anybody around the world. Not the Saudis, not the Qataris, not the Iranians, not the Jordanians, not the Egyptians. Only Israel. And I think today the West Bank is developing day by day because of the economic prosperity that Israel is providing to the Palestinians.
What do you think the role should be of the Palestinian diaspora, people in other parts of the world, and also people of parts like Chile?
See, first of all, I think that the Palestinians who are diaspora, in my opinion, they are not connected to the conflict at all. And sometimes I am feeling very, very tired from those Palestinians who are just trying to represent me somewhere in the world by providing a completely mistaken information, and they are trying to disinform the people around the world on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. I want to tell the Palestinians diaspora, please leave the conflict for those who are living under the conflict. Because I think that we, the Palestinians who are living today under the conflict, are much more responsible towards the conflict rather than any other Palestinian in diaspora. I think that people who are calling to boycott Israel has no right to visit Israel. Has no right. Because while you are calling to boycott Israel, Israel should have to boycott you. And this is why Israel is not accepting such horrible people to come inside Israel. In my opinion, the BDS movement is a movement which is not really seeking any kind of peace between the Israelis and the Palestinians. This movement, while they are calling to boycott Israel, it's not because the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, it is because the existing of the state of Israel. And these people are totally against the existing of the state of Israel. So they believe that while we will call for a boycott against Israel, that probably will take time, but we will achieve our aim, which is how to trash Israel from the map. That's exactly the policy and the principles of the BDS. But unfortunately, on the way to that, they are causing a huge damage to the Palestinian economy and to the Palestinian children.
What should do the European institutions in order to improve the current status of the conflict?
See, first of all, I hope that Europe will start evaluating its own foreign policy towards the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. I think that the current policy of Europe is causing a huge damage to the conflict. I think that probably the best way is that Europe should have to conduct a kind of a conference only for all of the European countries and to start thinking about a better methods how to interfere in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. I think today Europe became a part of the conflict rather than a part of the solution.
What advice would you like to give to the Palestinians and to the Israelis?
I think that the only advice I might give to the Palestinians and to the Israelis, that before peace, we need to create the bridges of confidence. We should have to stop the hatred. We should have to stop the incitement. We should have to start believe in the coexistence. The Israelis and the Palestinians will continue living together on that land forever. Neither the Israelis will be able to expel the Palestinians, neither the Palestinians will be able to expel the Israelis. So if we are going to live together on this land, let us keep a very good neighbors' relations.